Good morning. I'm here out on the roadside again, continuing the idea of the possibility of becoming a write-in candidate for Congress. Remember I said that in the past, the former stepfather, I've heard from him again, I think maybe a while ago and also yesterday, gets into the traffic broadcasting. How he years ago had said, although he was a Navy aviator during World War II and after, that he repeatedly expressed an opinion of aircraft carriers being obsolete and saying an opinion of that the future was going to be U-boats. Well, I remember saying that I was concerned against that prediction because his love's use of the term U-boat indicated favoring the Nazis who had used the U-boats against the United States and the United Kingdom and others during the war. So anyway, I got kind of worried about that, and another fact is that another saying of Love's through the years had become that he believed that Hitler had the right idea. That was a term that Love used repeatedly in conversation. You know, that was sometime after high school. I even back then when he'd say that, I really didn't get the message that he himself was of Hitler kind of conspiring. But what I didn't understand, something else I didn't understand, was that he was secretly pointing at me, you know, while he'd be progressing with his knowing about what his conspiring was, that he was secretly pointing at me as though I was agreeing, but no, I sure did. I'm recalling that back in late 1990, when I still didn't have much suspicion about him, you know, other than I do recall the slogans being said a few times, that I was helping him finish a house that he built out on Longboat Key on Morton Street. And there was by then there had been, I got mixed up for a moment. There was a British man, an old British man that lived in the house beside him, just north of him, and a time came that Love decided that he looked at his property carefully and determined that the fence of the neighbor man's house was jutting into Love's property by about a foot. And so Love decided to start a job of pushing the fence, forcing the fence to be moved about a foot into the British man's yard. So anyway, the old man was irritated about it, but I guess the precise measuring of the property line had favored Love's assertion about it. But I do recall that the old British man was really irritated, and there was a day that Love didn't hear him, that the old British man one day said that he'd like to torpedo him. You know, that he'd put a torpedo into Love. So anyway, that particular detail also reminds that although Love was a Navy aviator on aircraft carriers, that he had predicted that the aircraft carriers were going to be obsolete and that he was going to be aligned with a U-boat. Well, we know that these days sometimes British flyers fly off of U.S. carriers and U.S. jets flying off of British carriers. But what about the submarines? You know, the old British man saying a torpedo threat, I guess, indicated that he used to be a British submarine crewman or officer. So that's just another detail to consider, because by then Love was involved with his whatever conspiring pertaining to the submarines, like I detailed before. Back in 1984, he'd been on a cruise of the USS Grayling, being a guest of Ken Wilcoxon, during which time he said that he drove the submarine for a while. The submarine that ended up colliding with the, years later in 1993, ended up colliding with the Russian ballistic missile submarine Novomoskov. So I think that, like I said before, that was the only time a U.S. submarine collided with a Russian SSBN, and it happened to be the only submarine that Bill Love said that he had once driven on a cruise out of Charleston, South Carolina. in 1984. Well, anyway, however he was progressing and whatever details I can't consult from my files about the written reports, I get kind of mixed up when I'm trying to talk about matters that span multiple years and subjects. I've been reminded by reviewing my files some more, that on February 6th of 2013, the former stepfather decided to say some really bad assertions about saying that he believes that he's supposed to be able to eat whatever is left in daughters. And it even said of the man alleging me, he didn't, he wasn't in my presence saying it at that time. It was in the traffic broadcasting, and he sounded like and portrayed himself as being Bill Love. And then the same man, whom you might want to doubt about saying something so outrageous as saying that he believes that he's supposed to be able to eat daughters, that he within moments reverted to wanted to portray himself as though I'd be agreeing about him, and reverted back to the other subject on this occasion, saying on February 6, 2013, saying, "This Hummingbay yours." Hummingbay mine? Are you kidding? So anyway, he goes back to the time when he wanted to cause suspicion of during the formulation of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, when they decided to name the team the Tampa Bay Buccaneers rather than just Tampa. That during that particular time, Love used to kind of quiz about anybody wondering, like, well, the football crowd can be in the city, but what could be in the Bay, Well, it makes sense that people watch football in the stadium on the shore, but, what could be in the Bay? And so he wanted to start some suspicion about that way back then, back when his aircraft parts warehouse was located on US 27 in Sebring, just south of Bayview. Right near his Longbow Key house, I guess it was possibly wanting to be a little bit of a tedious indication about the nearby street, nearby shopping center named Seaview Plaza. You can remember the old TV series that had the submarine named the Seaview. So anyway, I just thought I'd mention that by 2013 there was a day that Bill Love said detail of Hummingbay for the first time, and that reminded me that he had previously asserted, and my mother and others, that they had influence with the music industry that I'd never known about, and that they had affected Katy Perry about their secret rumoring against me, and that the Hummingbay, of course, was an indication of also an indication of the song that Katy Perry sings, a sexy, lively hummingbird heartbeat. So anyway, I'll detail some more pertaining to the matter soon. Like I said before, pertaining to the pretty singer and dancer, is that there's a lot of her that I like very, very much through the recent years. Unfortunately, there's just some words that I just couldn't agree about. But anyway, I hope that the lady's safe with her daughter, and I'm going to conclude this now, and hope everyone's having a peaceful day.